You have been programmed with a fatal error. From the moment you could speak, you were told a lie. Your parents, your teachers, your priests, and your society all repeated the same mantra. Honesty is the best policy. They told you that the truth will set you free. They told you that if you are transparent, open, and authentic, the world will reward you with trust, respect, and loyalty. This is not a moral lesson. It is a control mechanism. Society teaches you to be honest, not for your benefit, but for theirs. An honest man is predictable. An honest man is easy to read. An honest man is easy to manipulate. When you tell the truth, you are essentially handing over the blueprint of your mind to your enemies. You are showing them exactly where your walls are strong and exactly where your gates are weak. You are giving them the keys to your destruction and calling it virtue. Niccolò Machiavelli, the father of dark realism, looked at this virtue of honesty and saw it for what it is, truly is, a weakness. In The Prince, specifically in the controversial chapter 18, he shatters the illusion. He writes, "A prudent lord, therefore, cannot and must not keep faith when such observance may be turned against him, and when the causes that caused him to promise have been eliminated." Translation: if telling the truth hurts your position, you have a moral obligation to lie. We live in a world that pretends to be a garden, but is actually a jungle. In a garden, honesty is beautiful. It creates harmony. But in a jungle, camouflage is survival. If you walk through a jungle screaming your location, announcing your intentions, and exposing your throat, you do not find friends. You find predators. Yet, this is exactly how most men live their lives today. They are the transparent man. The transparent man reveals his intentions before he acts, allowing his rivals to prepare a countermove. He confesses his insecurities to people who will hoard them as ammunition. He admits his mistakes to bosses who will use them as grounds for termination. He puts his cards face up on the table, believing that his openness will inspire others to do the same. He is wrong. When he puts his cards face up, the other players don't show theirs. They simply adjust their strategy to bankrupt him. Machiavelli divides the world of power into two archetypes, the lion and the fox. The lion relies on physical strength and fear. The lion is brave, direct, and ferocious, but he is stupid. He falls into traps because he does not look for them. He charges straight ahead. The fox, however, is defenseless in a physical fight, but he is the master of the trap. He knows how to feign, how to distract, how to camouflage, and how to conceal. Machiavelli warns us, those who have known best how to employ the fox have come out best. The transparent man tries to be a lion. He thinks, I have nothing to hide. I am strong. But he forgets that information is power. When you give someone the truth, you are giving them power over you. You are collapsing the information asymmetry. In negotiation, in war, and in love, the person who knows the least is the victim. The person who knows the most is the master. By being honest, you are voluntarily entering the arena as the victim. Consider the history of Pope Alexander VI. Machiavelli observed him closely and wrote about him with a mix of horror and admiration. Alexander never did anything but deceive men. He never thought of anything else. No man ever promised with greater oaths and kept them less. And yet, he succeeded in everything he did. Why? Because he understood human nature better than any moralist. He knew that men are simple. He knew that men are governed by their immediate needs. He knew that if you tell a man a beautiful lie that solves his problem today, he will not care about the truth of tomorrow. Alexander VI was a fox who ruled over a world of confused lions. You might be thinking, but I want to be a good man. I want to be honorable. I want to be real. Machiavelli has a cold bucket of water for your idealism. If men were all good, this precept would not be good. But as they are wretched and would not keep their faith with you, so you are not bound to keep faith with them. This is the crux of the argument. You are not dealing with angels. You are dealing with creatures of self-interest, ego, and greed. If you play by the rules of honesty, while your opponent plays by the rules of victory, you will be destroyed. It is not a fair fight. It is a slaughter. The honest man enters office politics believing that merit wins. He tells his colleague his ideas. The colleague steals them. The honest man is confused. The honest man tells his partner his deepest fears. The partner loses respect for him and eventually leaves. The honest man is heartbroken. He fails because he believes the world should be honest instead of seeing the world as it is. Honesty is a weapon. You can use it to build trust, yes, but you must never, ever point it at yourself. The days of the transparent man are over. If you want to survive the jungle, you must learn to blend in. You must learn to fake your shape. Once you accept that transparency is a death sentence, you must build your defense. If you cannot be an open book, what must you be? You must be a cipher. You must be a puzzle that everyone thinks they have solved, but no one actually understands. This brings us to the most essential tool in the Machiavellian arsenal, the mask. Modern society tells you to just be yourself. This is perhaps the most dangerous advice ever given to a human being. Yourself is messy. Yourself is emotional, insecure, volatile, and flawed. If you bring yourself into a negotiation, you will lose. If you bring yourself into a war, you will bleed. A prince does not bring himself to the throne room. He brings a persona. He brings a carefully constructed avatar designed to handle the brutality of power without taking damage. Machiavelli writes in chapter 18, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." This is the law of the mask. The world judges by eyes, not by hands. They judge by the surface. They do not have the time, the intelligence, or the energy to dig deep into your soul. They will believe whatever image you project, provided you project it with absolute confidence. Therefore, your task is not to be real. Your task is to be effective. The mask is not about lying. Lying is crude. Lying is for amateurs who get caught. The mask is about curation. Think of a museum. The curator has thousands of artifacts in the basement, broken pots, controversial statues, ugly paintings. But in the gallery, he only displays the masterpieces. He is not lying about the collection. He is simply exercising control over what the public sees. You must become the curator of your own personality. When you enter a room, you must ask, which version of me does this situation require? Does it require the listener, the aggressor, the saint, the fool? The transparent man has only one mode. The fox has 1,000 faces. But how do you maintain this mask without cracking? The secret is strategic vulnerability. If you are too perfect, people will not trust you. A mask that is too shiny looks artificial. It triggers the uncanny valley effect in the human brain. People get suspicious of perfection. They start looking for the cracks. To protect your true secrets, you must feed them a fake secret. You must give them a decoy flaw. Admit to a minor vice. Confess to a small, relatable weakness. Tell them you are bad at math, or that you have a sweet tooth, or that you get nervous before public speaking. When you give them this small piece of honesty, their brain relaxes. They think, "Ah, he is human. He is open. I can trust him." They stop digging. They accept the decoy, unaware that the real vault, your true ambitions, your true opinions, your true strategies, remains locked tight. You have traded a penny to protect a fortune. Machiavelli observes that men are so simple and so governed by their immediate needs that he who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. This is not an insult to intelligence. It is an observation of human desire. People want to believe the mask. They want to believe that you are the confident leader, the loyal employee, or the devoted friend. It makes them feel safe. By wearing the mask, you are not just protecting yourself. You are fulfilling their need for security. You are giving them the character they need you to be. The amateur feels guilty about this. He thinks he is being a fake. He suffers from imposter syndrome because he knows that the confident man in the mirror is a construct. The Machiavellian feels no guilt. He understands that the construct is a tool, like a hammer or a shield. Do you feel guilty for wearing a coat in a blizzard? No, the coat is not you, but it keeps you alive. The mask is your coat. The social world is the blizzard. This requires a detachment that few possess. You must learn to separate your ego from your persona. When someone insults your mask, you must not get angry. They are attacking the armor, not the man inside. When someone praises your mask, you must not get arrogant. They are applauding the performance, not the actor. This is the ultimate freedom. The transparent man is a slave to the reactions of others because his soul is on the surface. If you cut him, he bleeds. But the masked man is untouchable. He can smile while plotting. He can agree while disagreeing. He can shake a hand while evaluating the threat. He operates from a fortress of solitude that no one can breach because no one knows where the entrance is. But wearing the mask is only defense. It stops you from being destroyed. To actually win, to take ground, to acquire power, to defeat enemies, you must learn to use this ambiguity offensively. You must learn how to lure others into the open while you remain in the dark. You are now hidden. It is time to hunt. You have learned to wear the mask. You have learned to hide your intentions. Now, you must learn how to turn that concealment into a weapon. You must learn the art of the trap. And the most effective trap in the world requires no metal, no net, and no mechanism. It consists entirely of one thing: silence. The transparent man is addicted to noise. He is terrified of the void, so he fills it with words. In a negotiation, he talks to explain himself. In an argument, he talks to defend himself. He believes that if he speaks enough, he will be understood. He believes that words build bridges. Machiavelli knows that words do not build bridges. Words dig graves. Every time you speak, you restrict your options. Every time you speak, you reveal a piece of the map. You tell the enemy what you want, what you fear, and what you are willing to lose. You give them the coordinates for their artillery. To be a fox, you must embrace the power of strategic silence. Silence creates a vacuum. Human beings are social creatures. We are biologically wired to connect. When we encounter silence, our brains panic. We feel a desperate need to fill the gap. So, what happens when you stay silent while your opponent speaks? They become anxious. They start to over-explain. They start to justify. And eventually, they start to reveal the truth. The fox sits back. He maintains eye contact. He nods slightly, but he does not speak. He lets the silence stretch until it becomes uncomfortable. In that discomfort, the other person will hand over the keys to the kingdom. They will tell you their bottom line. They will tell you their insecurities. They will tell you the lie they were planning to use, but then fumble it because you didn't react the way they expected. This is the offensive use of ambiguity. You are not just hiding your own position, you are forcing them to expose theirs. Machiavelli advises that a prince must be a great asker of questions and a patient listener to the truth. But he must never let anyone know why he is asking. Consider the tactic of feigned incompetence. This is a variation of the silent trap. The transparent man always wants to look smart. He wants to be the sharpest person in the room. He corrects people, he interrupts, he shows off his knowledge. This is pure ego, and it is a strategic disaster. When you look smart, people raise their defenses. They become careful around you. They see you as a threat. The fox, however, is not afraid to look stupid. He plays the fool to catch the wise. He asks basic questions. He acts confused. He lets his opponent underestimate him. When your enemy thinks you are slow, they get arrogant. They get sloppy. They stop guarding their words because they don't view you as a predator. They view you as prey. They lower their shield to mock you. And that is the exact moment you strike. There is a terrifying power in being underestimated. It gives you the element of surprise. While they are busy laughing at your stupidity, you are busy dismantling their empire from the inside. You are gathering intelligence that they would never give to a smart man. Never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake. Never correct him when he is wrong, unless it serves your purpose. Let him build his own cage. This requires immense self-control. Your ego will scream at you. It will want to say, "I know that. I am smarter than you." You must strangle that impulse. You must value victory over validation. The trap is simple. You become a mirror. You reflect nothing but what they want to see, while you absorb everything they are. You are a black hole of information. Everything goes in, nothing comes out. By the time they realize that your silence was not emptiness, but calculation, by the time they realize that your stupidity was a disguise, it will be too late. They will have already walked into the cell and handed you the key. You have not just outwitted them, you have allowed them to outwit themselves. The mask conceals you. Silence protects you. But eventually, you must act. You must make deals, form alliances, and give your word. This brings us to the most controversial and lethal aspect of Machiavellian strategy: the art of the broken promise. The honest man views a promise as a sacred bond. He believes that his word is his bond, and he will sacrifice his own well-being to keep it. If the market crashes, he goes down with the ship because he promised to stay. If an ally betrays him, he remains loyal because he signed a contract. He is a martyr, and in the game of power, Martyrs are useful only as stepping stones for the ruthless. Machiavelli is explicitly clear. A promise is not a chain. It is a tool. It is a temporary bridge built to cross a specific river. Once the river is crossed, or if the bridge catches fire, you must be willing to burn it. He writes, "A prudent lord, therefore, cannot and must not keep faith, when such observance may be turned against him, and when the causes that caused him to promise have been eliminated." This is the doctrine of flexibility. Circumstances change. The world is fluid. A strategy that was perfect yesterday might be suicidal today. The honest man remains rigid. He holds on to the promise even when the context has shifted. The fox is fluid. If the situation changes, the promise must change. But here is the danger. If you simply break your word, you will be branded a liar. You will lose your reputation. And in this world, reputation is currency. So, how do you break a promise without looking like a traitor? You must learn to color your breach of faith. Machiavelli advises, "But it is necessary to know well how to disguise this characteristic, and to be a great pretender and dissembler." You never simply break a promise. You provide a legitimate excuse. You do not say, "I changed my mind." You say, "The circumstances have forced my hand." You frame the betrayal not as a choice, but as a necessity. You position yourself as a victim of fate, compelled to act differently for the greater good. Look at the master politicians and CEOs. When they cut jobs after promising growth, they do not apologize for lying. They blame the economic climate. They blame external headwinds. They color the truth. They make the betrayal look like wisdom. They make the lie look like leadership. This requires a specific kind of intelligence, the ability to find the pretext. You must always have a reason ready that sounds moral, logical, and inevitable. You must convince the world that you wanted to keep your word, but the universe simply wouldn't allow it. The honest man thinks this is hypocritical. The Machiavellian knows it is essential. If men were angels, you could be honest. But men are not angels. They are waiting for you to slip. If you keep a promise that hurts you, your enemy will not applaud your honor. He will laugh at your stupidity while he takes your territory. The ultimate goal of the fox is not to be a liar. It is to be the weather vane. A weather vane does not choose a direction. It responds to the wind. If the wind blows north, it points north. If the wind shifts south, it points south instantly. It creates no resistance. The honest man is a stone wall. He stands against the wind until he cracks. The fox turns. He survives because he does not attach his ego to a specific direction. He attaches his ego only to survival. Do not fear the judgment of the crowd when you shift your loyalty. Machiavelli gives us a dark assurance. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand. For the vulgar are taken by appearances and by the outcome of the event. This is the brutal reality. History does not judge the methods, it judges the result. If you lie, cheat, and break promises, but you lose, you are a scoundrel. But if you lie, cheat, break promises, and win, you are a genius. You are a visionary. The crowd will forgive the broken promise if you give them the victory. They will forget the lie if you give them the profit. The winner is never asked if he told the truth. The loser is never believed, even if he did. Therefore, let your only loyalty be to the outcome. Let your only promise be to your own assent. Everything else, words, contracts, handshakes, is merely the fog of war. You must navigate through it, not become lost in it. We arrive at the final paradox. After learning about masks, silence, and broken promises, you might think the goal is to become a cold, obvious manipulator. You might think the goal is to be feared as a liar. You are wrong. The goal of the fox is to be the most trusted man in the room. Machiavelli gives us the ultimate key in chapter 18. It is not necessary to have all the virtues, but it is necessary to appear to have them. He goes further. He says you must appear merciful, faithful, humane, sincere, and religious, especially religious. Why? Because the most effective deception is the one wrapped in sanctity. If you look like a shark, people will build a cage for you. But if you look like a sheep, they will let you sleep in the fold. And that is where the wolves eat best. The amateur liar fails because he lies too often. He lies about small things. He destroys his credibility for cheap thrills. The master fox tells the truth 99% of the time. He builds a massive bank account of trust. He is known as the honest guy. He is known as the reliable guy. He saves his deception for the one moment that actually matters, the moment that changes his life. And because he has built such a fortress of reputation, when he finally lies, everyone believes him. This is the frightening reality of power. The most dangerous people are not the ones who look like villains. They are the ones who look like heroes. They understand that. Honesty is just a public relations strategy. You must stop viewing the world through the lens of morality and start viewing it through the lens of utility. When you are honest, ask yourself, who does this serve? When you hide the truth, ask yourself, what does this protect? The transparent man is a leaf blowing in the wind, entirely at the mercy of the elements. The fox is the wind. He is unseen, but he moves everything. Do not hate the game. The game existed before you were born, and it will continue after you die. You cannot change the rules of the jungle. You can only choose your role within it. You can be the prey who exposes his throat and hopes for mercy, or you can be the predator who moves in silence and strikes only when victory is assured. The mask is ready. The silence is deafening. The trap is set. Step out of the light. Welcome to the shadows. This concludes the protocol. You are now awake.